every advisor I know has spent time at some point throughout their career going through a UVP mission and vision exercise. And what's always surprising to me is how much time is spent in our industry teaching advisors or giving advisors space to actually write out the language, and how little time is spent helping advisors actually taking that language and integrating it into their practice. And so I want to spend a couple minutes, under 10 minutes, I promise, today, talking about how to ensure that you and your team are actually living out these statements on a day-to-day basis. This is going to become increasingly more important as we become even more saturated and commoditized as an industry. And so let me start with this. And it's, by the way, it's not that I'm against elevator speech exercises, although sometimes I do say that I am. I think it is much more important to teach people on your team and train yourself as well. Not just to be able to talk about what you do in a 20-second pitch in an elevator. First of all, we're not really getting into elevators with people right now anymore anyway, and we have masks on. So much more important to train ourselves and teach people how to take whatever the statement is and craft that statement and refine it into a talk script that you can use every day, not just with clients and COIs and prospects, but with family members and within your own network. So I'm going to give you three pseudo exercises that I want you to do before the end of the year. Really great if you could do it before the summer. August tends to be a little bit slower. So this is a perfect exercise to do with your team, 3-part exercise at an offsite. So the first thing is, obviously, let's assume that you've actually crafted out the language for a UVP mission and vision. First of all, make sure that the language is accurate. And by that, I mean, people oftentimes confuse what a UVP is versus a mission statement, a vision statement. So unique value proposition, why would people choose to do business with you? We're in an industry with hundreds of thousands of advisors. We've got Robinhood, we've got, Betterment, we've got all these, high tech platforms now. Why would a human being choose to do business with you? Really simple, UVP. By the way, the best UVPs, and this is why I urge advisors to constantly relook and refine their statements. The best UVPs don't mention product or service or cost at all. The best UVPs get to what we want to make people feel or experience when they're experiencing our services. So that's UVP mission statement, really simple. What is your objective as a practice? I talk a lot about objectives and the need to be clear on objectives. You may know your individual mission, but the bigger your firm gets, the more people you add to your team, the more difficult it is for people to feel connected to a mission statement. So we have to make sure that we're really clear about what our objective is as a practice, month after month, year after year. Mission statement is, what do you intend to do to help people every single day? So in many cases, a mission statement will sound something like, we help people achieve financial security, or we are in business to ensure that wealth transfers properly and efficiently from one generation to the next. And then there's vision statement. Vision statement is something that is bigger than you, greater than just you or your practice or your team. Vision statements are so super important, especially for the next generation of employee. We know that the younger gen team member, if they don't feel connected to the work, if they don't feel that their individual contributions connect to a greater sort of purpose, they're more likely and highly likely to leave your organization. So when you think about vision statement, it has to be something greater than self. And now I often say, if you can't come up with something that sounds super fancy, perfectly okay. Your vision can simply be, and when you're thinking about vision statement, I want you to multiply your business by 100 or 1,000. Think bigger. So your vision may be to ensure that every family in New York State has access to quality and sound financial guidance. Or you may have a vision of being the premier boutique wealth management firm for tech executives on the East Coast. So thinking bigger. So those are the 3 statements. So the first thing is audit those statements. make sure that they are accomplishing in their actual language what each of those statements need to accomplish. And then make sure that everybody in your organization knows the language, has had input and buy-in around the language, and that the language or statements appear in all media in a similar fashion, meaning the way you talk about what you do on your website should be the same as the way you talk about it on LinkedIn, should be the same as the way you talk about it in your marketing collateral, should be the same as the way your receptionist or executive assistant would answer if she was asked by a friend or family member or client about what you all do. And so spending time actually auditing the statements and making sure that each person can conversationally talk to them, really, and not just recite them verbatim, because that's not realistic, but conversationally describe them, really important. So that would be exercise number one I would recommend that you do in a team meeting. Exercise number two. This is how you ensure that these statements are actually coming to life. You should be able to, and anybody on your team should be able to list out the activities, behaviors, and actions that you take on an ongoing basis in your practice to ensure that you are living up to the UVP and mission statement specifically. Here's an example. Let's say your unique value proposition is that you listen intently, that you have, and your whole team has been trained in EQ, that you listen deeply, that you communicate better than any other advisory firm, and certainly better than any tech platform can listen to clients. A way in which you might show clients or prove that you live your UVP out every single day is perhaps by giving a DISC assessment, which is a communication assessment to every A+ client that comes in. That's one way in which you show that you live out your UVP. Another way might be that you ensure that in every initial what some people call the approach meeting or the prospect meeting with a new potential client, you ask more questions than you make statements. These are actual tangible things that you can make sure that you do, that the team knows about, that not just proves that you're living out your value proposition, but actually creates a positive, exceptional experience for the end client. So actually taking time to list out all of the ways in which you live up to UVP and mission statement on an ongoing basis, really, really, really good exercise to do with your team. What you may find is that it's difficult for you to actually identify those things. What a perfect opportunity to spend some time tweaking and refining the client experience and the things that you do as a team and with clients. The final thing I'll say, this is a third exercise, is set up some sort of format to gut check or fact check every decision or investment you make into the business against the UVP mission and vision. In other words, perhaps it's a meeting that you set on your calendar with the directors of the various silos within your organization, or perhaps it's a meeting that you set up with your business partners or your coach, where you talk about, these are the decisions we're looking to make over the next month. We want to make sure that they align with our mission. So if the mission is to ensure that you preserve wealth as it transfers from one generation to the next, and you are at a firm or an organization that doesn't have best in class or leading technology to really capture and attract and retain that next gen client, then you're not living up to the mission statement perhaps. And maybe that encourages you to start thinking differently about the decisions you make about the business. Okay, so audit UVP mission and vision statement, make sure that everybody on the team can use that language in a conversation, list out all the activities and actions and behaviors you take or will take to align with those statements, and then finally set up some sort of accountability for yourself to gut check every decision or investment you make about the business against those big statements. I hope that was helpful. Let me know how these sessions go. I'll see you next week, same place, same time. Take care.